before we officially start, I just want to say, so I record my voice lines in Audacity, which is, it's great freeware and everything, but it's so finicky with the input and like the audio levels and channels and the gain, and it's just really inconsistent, and it's like a feral cat if it were software, where it's just every time I boot it up, I need to like coax it back into trusting me, and it's just kind of a pain. So that's why the beginnings of like all of my audio recording are me going, "Oh, testing, testing. Is it gonna be weird today?" And it always is. But I digress. So, hello everyone. This is the first episode of the Purple Podcast. It's well, if you've ever seen my original run of videos and thought, "Hey, wow, that guy talking at great length about incredibly specific things is awesome," but you know what would be greater? If it was like completely unstructured and didn't have a script. Gee, I'd listen to that. Well, actually, if you listen to the random crap I put out, you probably would be interested in listening to that, but I digress. So, Purple Podcast, what is it? It's the random, unfiltered thought glurge that does not get processed through the the factory line of writing a script and actually researching things. So on this topic, why, professor, did you decide to make a podcast? You already make videos where you clearly talk about just whatever you want and nothing else. And to that I say, I am the most distractible person in the world, and I go on tangents which are in turn off of other tangents on top of other tangents, and the videos are like a pared down version of this. So this is how I actually talk in real life, so have fun with that. And I just wanted to talk about like the beginnings of the channel. I published my first video in February of last year, so like where did it come from? What was the whole root of this? And most of it just kind of comes from I tend to go on like these deep rabbit hole dives about really specific topics and then force my family and friends to listen to me while I talk about them at length with zero provocation at all. And I saw, I like listening to YouTube in the background and everything while I do other stuff. And I thought, hey, these people have an audience while listening to, their incredibly niche interests and everything like that. So why don't I give that a shot and just start making videos about anything that I find interesting? Clearly there's a market for that sort of thought sludge. So I was like, hey, why not? Just go for it. Dive right in. And it's funny, the original format that I had planned for this channel that ultimately didn't pan out, it didn't end up going in this direction at all, was actually based on, of all things, a Tumblr account I had a little while ago in university, where it was just a bunch of really silly MS Paint drawings and everything that I would post just to annoy the people I know with. And originally, it was supposed to be a lot more like drawing heavy, not an animation or animated channel, but like a channel with lots more self-drawn art. And if you look at my first video with like the bats, they're pretty cool. You can see the like me trying to do that. I took one step out the door with like making a drawing based channel, and I did one and a half drawings and realized this is not gonna pan out. I hate this so much. I am going to do like little visual gags and I will draw things sometimes, but like I'm not going to make an entire channel of this because it will take forever and I will hate it. I am not good at art, and as I found out, I do not really enjoy making art all that much, so it ended up just being like little interjections and funny edited like visual gags here and there. So, like the name Professor Purple, where did it come from? So originally the idea was going to be, it was going to be like badly drawn MS Paint drawings or something to that effect, where I emphasize the drawing portion of it. Clearly, that did not happen because I had that idea before I really started working on my first video, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to call it this because that title will just be a lie, and I'm not going to make a drawing-based channel. So, and to be honest, I do not remember where I got the idea of the purple aspect from it. I think I mostly was just like, create some kind of an association, some kind of like visual identity to it, and purple is kind of like just a funny, interesting color, I suppose. Is how are colors funny and interesting? But I digress. I was like, oh yeah, okay, let's go with that. And it was originally going to be something like the world in purple or the universe in purple, something that's sort of very broad because I had a lot of broad ideas for things I wanted to make videos about, and it's like, that's kind of wordy. It doesn't flow off the tongue very well. It doesn't feel satisfying. So then I pared it down. I was like, it's going to be, well, at least partially an education channel, talking about things, about science and occasional literature and stuff like that. So I called it Professor Purple just for the added alliterative appeal, and the rest is history in that regard. There was also the possibility of people who do anything I think of channels where it's just the channel format name of first name, last name, and the channel is just your name. And like, no shade to the people that do that. I watch a number of channels that are like first name, last name, and they're good, but I don't know. It just, to me, it kind of felt like low hanging fruit. Like, I want to create this channel as sort of like a separate thing from just myself, so I didn't want to just be, oh, it's me in channel form. So I did not do that. Also, I already have had a YouTube channel for a number of years that is just me, my name. No, I'm not going to tell you what it is. If you think you can try and find it, you're more than welcome to, but that'll be on you. You have to hunt for it. I'm not just going to feed it to you. But in any case, I also noticed a lot of people that are just like, it's just their name and channel form, which, if it were me, I would make it about, whatever I feel like making that day, but a lot of people clearly have a very specific region that they want to make content about, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like you could give that a more evocative title. I feel like I'm putting down a lot of other YouTube channels, and I'm really not trying to do that. I'm just kind of spitballing about, what should I title a thing if it's really broad, and I'm talking to you about things, so I don't know. Some people clearly don't care about like separating the channel from the person. I do. That's just a me thing. So that's kind of all it is. All it is on that. I like my digital life and my real life very separate, and some people don't mind that. But also, yeah, a lot of family and friends that I know in real life also watch this channel. So if you are listening and you know me in real life, you don't get any points for finding my real life YouTube channel. It's too easy. It has to be somebody that knows me from YouTube only. All right? Cool. So in the making of the videos, I've put out 10 as of the time I've recorded this segment, and the way I like to do videos is I generally try and make each video a little bit experimental in some way, even if it's just like using a new feature of the video editor or something like that. First video obviously was my first video. It's going to be experimental by default. Second one, I don't remember what I did. All I remember from the second video was that my original video editor just like kept crashing from a video that was more than a couple of minutes long, and it happened so much and so badly that like I literally could not continue. So for the last time, I booted it up. I rendered what footage I had like loaded into the video editor at the time as an incomplete video, and just like pulled it out as quickly as I could before it crashed again to the point of becoming unusable, because I know that I do not have the willpower to recreate this entire thing from scratch. Like, if I couldn't salvage anything, I would just give up on that video and move on to a different one. So like halfway through making the video of Fire and Fiction is Boring, I just rendered it, yoinked it back out, and then I downloaded DaVinci Resolve afterwards to like continue working on it. I don't remember what my first video editor software was. It was so bad. Just, if you're thinking about making videos, just use DaVinci Resolve. It's way better. It's free. It's fantastic. Also, I originally did all of my little video edited like frames in Microsoft Paint, which, like, again, I love Microsoft Paint. It's fantastic, but it's don't use it for like frame editing. You will have a bad time. You need a way sturdier and more precise hand than I have. That's why some of my frames in the old videos were just absolute crap, because I was making them in MS Paint. I use Paint.net now. It is also free. It's also fantastic. You should get it. It's better than Microsoft Paint in every way. Don't let the UI fool you. It is not hard to use. But in any case, yeah, so new video editors, new frame editors. I started getting into like keyframes and stuff so that I don't have black bars or have to edit things down into the proper aspect ratios manually, all that fun stuff. So, as if you watch my videos in chronological order, which by the way, you should absolutely do that. You should give my videos another watch if you're listening to this. So do that. Do it now. Pause the podcast. Come back to it in like an hour and watch all of my videos again. Anyway, if you watch them all in order, you'll notice more over time. I just play around with keyframes more and more, with like things like panning and zooming in and out and spinning around and stuff like that. Because every video, it's well, like I said earlier on, I was like, oh, it's stuff that I talk about anyway, so might as well have an audience for it. But also, it's each video is a chance to improve my technical skills, to challenge myself, and hey, if you have a chance to do that, why don't you? It's like, if I just wanted to be maximum lazy, I wouldn't have made this channel at all. So each video should make me a little bit better at making videos, and I hope each video is better than the last. If not, well, I got to work on videos more. Also, I think my favorite bit of like the keyframing and like fun little video editing snippets that I've done comes from the light switches and souls video, which is a damn shame because it's like my least viewed video so far, but I think it's really good. Go watch it. Where it was the Martian face in Sidonia, where, there was the image of it in 1976, and it's really low resolution and it looks like a face, but then it zooms in and twists and then crossfades into the image taken 25 years later in 2001, and it's nothing. And it's a simple shot, but I'm just really, really proud of it, partially because it was like the first sort of actual really involved like video transition thing that I did in a video when I was playing around with the keyframe stuff. But I still think it's really good, and I don't know, it just feels kind of dramatic and fun to me, and I'm really proud of how I did that, and I sort of hold that as like, yeah, that's the sort of feeling I want to go for with like transitions and fun video stuff, because and I like to do lots of visual gags, just partially because I like doing that kind of thing, and also because it's a lot of the times I'm just kind of showing slides and stuff while I'm talking, and just seeing slides that slowly pan across the screen for like visual eye retention, that's all right. But something that catches the eye to encourage people to actually watch. Have the eyes to have something fun to do along with the ears. Also, quick aside, Muse's Knights of Sidonia song is fantastic, and you should also listen to that. Um, I am now in retrospect realizing, hey, maybe I should have included that as like a little musical riff inside of the sliding frame, but alas, I did not. Anyway, I'm back. I had to go to my day job. And part of doing this podcast style recording is also to sort of improve on my just kind of freestanding talking. I generally consider myself to be fairly good at improv when it's in real life. Like, I've done sort of stage performances and stuff before, but for some reason I found just reading off a script that is in front of me into a microphone for an online audience, I found myself stumbling over my words and the tonal stuff and the phrasing a lot, and I was sort of thrown off by that in the early videos, because I'm like, I've never really had problems putting on a vocal or a physical performance. Physical performances doesn't really matter in YouTube, because I don't do performance live recording skits, but I digress. And I have similarly found that just sort of turning on the microphone and talking like I'm doing right now has also been quite difficult, which surprised me because I'm like, hey, I can just freely talk and stuff, so maybe it has to do with the microphone. Maybe I have a phobia of microphones that I didn't realize until I was already an adult man. So, with some luck and practice, I'll get better at doing improv and off the cuff style commentary, talking about things I want to talk about, because I feel like I've been getting better at recording things off a script. I've been getting more comfortable, I've been getting more fluid. I've been getting better at remembering the notations for what kind of intonation to have for sections of the script. Sections of the script that notes that I didn't actually leave for myself, so they don't count as notes, but whatever. Also, yes, the struggle is real. There are long periods of dead silence where I struggle to remember what I was going to talk about because I see the little needle moving through Audacity and everything, and it creates a very real time pressure. So yeah, there's dead air that is chopped out from this recording. I said there would be minimal editing. I did not say there would be no editing. Get off my back. Oh yeah, and one thing I wanted to loop back around to, because I originally forgot to talk about it when I was actually on that topic, is I've noticed a lot of like big channels and stuff. If you like scroll down for what feels like hours, because people have a bajillion YouTube videos and YouTube sucks at loading a whole bunch of them at the same time, is that you go back and the quality obviously decreases because people get better at editing and recording and writing over time. Duh. But it's sort of like it goes back to sort of this sort of rougher, more personal feeling, and it's kind of like, oh, these big, oftentimes I don't want to say corporate YouTube channels, but you know what I mean. These sort of bigger, polished channels that started out as just, hey, some guy just making videos for fun, and I just find that very charming that these things that people have made careers out of, and it just started out as they're just making little animations for fun, and it's like their first thing was a 16-second video from like 2000. YouTube didn't exist in 2004, from like 2014, and there was no other videos for like another 7 years, and then they started picking it up again. um like my favorite example of that is Jake W, who is fantastic. He makes great animated YouTube mythology videos and everything like that, and his old videos are like a couple of like gameplay videos and like one animation of TF2, and it's just hilarious to see where it's like the changeover started and he had this really solid idea all of a sudden of what he wanted to do, and he just freaking killed it. So that's my section of fanboying over Jake W. So if you see this, Jake, I'm a big fan of yours. Thanks for all the entertainment and education. So yeah, a lot of the big YouTube channels that I love and are fantastic just started out as people, with their own personal YouTube channels having fun, and when started meeting with success and they started having different ideas as they got older and stuff, because a lot of this stuff is just teenagers and kids and stuff having fun on the internet and putting things out. My channel is not like that, partially because I am extremely neurotic and like having things in their particular boxes, and I didn't want to make my Professor Purple YouTube channel the same as my real life first name last name YouTube channel, just because I don't, I don't want the rice and the sauce to touch on the plate, so I don't want that to be the case on the internet, because I am doing a different, this isn't my personal thing. This is me being a silly little voice on the internet thing. It's different. It has to have a different channel. Also, it didn't change as much because, one, my channel is not particularly old at this point, and also because I did not start making YouTube videos regularly as a teenager. I put out my first video when I was a grown man, and a little over a year later, I still am a grown man. So I have not changed as much in that short period of time as a lot of people starting out on YouTube would have. Changed as a person, of course. My interests are always really in flux. I think I get more invested into certain things than a lot of people do. I am all over the place, and every couple of months I get this new thing that I'm super into, and I'm like, yeah, this is my thing now. And then a couple months pass by, and I get interested in another thing, and it's like, yeah, it turns out that that thing I was super into was not my entire new personality, and I become really, really into it, and I research it a lot, and you've probably noticed that because my video topics are all over the place, and I just acquire interests in some small repertoire of skills relating to that interest, and I put them into my glove like Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones, and, you know, maybe one day I will be able to use my massive accumulated body of interests to kill half the universe like the Purple Man did. Oh, Thanos is purple too. Why am I recording this section? I don't know what I'm doing right now. Just imagine I look like Thanos, okay? That's my new thing. My profile picture will be a picture of Thanos. Why are people still listening to this? I would say, pinky promise, my new profile picture for going forward will be like a picture of Thanos in like professor glasses and a mortarboard and everything. But the MCU Thanos is, owned by Disney because Disney owns everything, but also MCU in particular. And yeah, I would not put it past the House of Mouse to sue me for having that. Probably wouldn't happen, but it's fun to bash the corporations about. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, so I have my this YouTube channel, my I like to talk about inane topics YouTube channel, and I also have my personal one that I have not posted on in many years because I'm just not supernaturally inclined to upload random nonsense I find onto YouTube. It's like if I have an idea that I feel is worth making a video about, I refine it into the Professor Purple format, which does Professor Purple even have a format beyond me talking and making bad jokes? But I digress. But there is the Professor Purple has deep lore. It has esoterica because even before I was uploading on my own personal channel, I did appear on somebody else's channel, not just voice wise, but like my whole face and whole body, like the whole dude that makes this channel has appeared on somebody else's before even his personal thing that predated this one, which is to say that I was on YouTube before I was on YouTube. Aslan says, don't cite the deep magic to me. I was there when it was written. I was walking right alongside the lion. I was there at the beginning. Actually, when was my first appearance on this guy's channel? I'm not going to mention him by name because I feel like it's more fun to send people on a wild goose chase for all 1.5 of you that is obsessed enough with me to try and dig up what I actually look like. It's better to hunt around. I don't want to deprive you of that challenge. But let's see, when was my first actual appearance on YouTube? But for those of you who are here, I'll give you a hint. The guy whose channel I appeared on is really into cars and also polyamory. Okay, I first appeared 6 years ago. I feel like that was longer, but in any case, yes. So I appeared before I appeared because I don't want to say he influenced me to make videos because he most definitely didn't, but it woke me up to the idea of just, hey, making videos and stuff for fun isn't just something other people do. It's like, yeah, you can do it too, and fun backyard projects. And also we made a boat that I capsized by trying to get into because the boat sucked. But there may be a few of you in here that a bell is starting to ring, but I'm still not going to tell you who it is because it's funnier to me imagining people seething about not knowing. Also, not knocking his boat creation skills because, for one, I was also a large contributor in the creation of that boat, which is very much just a plywood box that was badly waterproofed and only didn't capsize and sink because the plywood is lighter than the water, so it physically could not. But I was not the main architect on that project or even in the direct building of the boat itself. So I can confidently assert that if I was in charge of this whole thing, the boat would have been fantastic. It could have traversed the South Pacific for all we know. And you'll never know because I wasn't the one in charge of the boat. So sucks to suck. I could have made a boat better. If you disagree with me, well, there's no way for you to prove it now. I guess I could still build a boat, but I'm not going to. Also, I can claim extra credit for I used my lifeguard skills to save one of the people in the boat that capsized that I caused to capsize. So, net zero life lost or saved in that scenario, but I can still take credit for it because I looked cool while I was doing it. You're welcome. I am tempted now that I've brought it up and the idea's in my head. I do very much like the idea of retrying the idea of making a boat, or maybe just something like a raft, something adding a sail to it, even if the sail is like completely superfluous. And I am a very bad sailor. I say this having sailed like a couple of times when I was 13, but as far as I know, I'm still a bad sailor. But I digress. Just cruising around on a lake on a raft or on a boat or something, that just sounds really fun. Um, Even more so than that, I really want to try making one of those old rail cart kind of things, where it's like the two guys and they're in the middle of the West and there's the obligatory rock columns over off on the distance and the dusty soil and there's like two handles and they're pumping back and forth and that makes them go on the train track rail carts. Oh, I want to make one of those and just like go on a rail track adventures so badly, but all the rail tracks are privately owned, and I'd probably get bowled over by a train and die instantly if I tried doing that. So I'd be dead and I'd be in jail for trespassing, which is really a shame because that seems so fun and awesome. But there are abandoned rail lines around in places. I'm sure I could find one if I really put my mind to it, and a rail cart would not be all that hard to make, measuring out wheels and everything. But I digress. Also, this is still a video about the making of well, it's not a video, it's a podcast. The topic of this discussion is still the creation of the Professor Purple YouTube channel, and it is still in the process of being created. I feel like I am sort of still sort of finding my style and my editing style and how I like to write it and everything. The channel is still largely in its infancy. At least I hope it is. I very much enjoy making this. I hope I will be able to do it for a long time. I've had a ton of fun over this last little year and a bit, and I want to keep doing it. But you have also noticed that more recently my channel has become monetized. It has ads, and that has caused me a bit of a headache recently because, well, to gain income from a U.S. corporation that is Google, you need to fill out tax forms. And I had to fill out a tax form that I had never encountered before. It's called a W-8BEN form, and it's specifically for people who make money from U.S. companies who are not themselves people that live or work or are citizens or have any real association with the U.S. Because, as like I said in one of my previous videos, I am just a fully Canadian national. I was born here. I live here. I'm a citizen here. I do all of my regular business, including the day job that I had to go to and work at halfway through this podcast at here in Canada. So W8BEN is a foreign person's tax form, but you're getting money from just associating with US corporations. And overall, it's a pretty fine document. It's only 1 page long. Generally, it's not that big a deal. The issue is a foreign tax identification number. What the fuck is a foreign tax identification number? I asked myself. And, well, I had to look it up. And I did not have a lot of success at first because, a lot of you watching this will know US tax is incredibly arcane and difficult to figure out. And that I learned that is very true as well, as a matter of fact. because I looked through the IRS website, which is so labyrinthine as to be functionally useless. Um, Looking around, I spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to comb through things. I eventually gave up and just like had to ask forums and stuff because, why would the people who are paid to make informational pages on tax information know why, yeah, a Canadian, US's closest frickin' ally, no, why would they have to provide information to us that we could use? And as it ultimately turns out, a foreign tax identification number for Canadians is just a social insurance number. And if you are not familiar with that, quick aside, social insurance number, social security number, they're functionally the same thing. And as looking back on my like 20 tabs of IRS website pages, they do bring up social security number a number of times. And yes, they're functionally the same thing, but they are not the same entity. They have different names. If you say you can use a social security number, well, I'm not an American. I don't have a social security number. I'm a Canadian. I have a social insurance number. They're different things. The W8BN form mentions social security number for people that have them, and then there's a different line for foreign tax identification number. So I naturally assumed that I don't just naturally extend the train of logic from social security number to social insurance number. I spent like 2 hours looking for that, and it's like, oh, it's just my social insurance number that I just get from that I just pull out of my wallet. It's like, oh, here we go. Just enter that thing in. So that spent kind of a while getting to. And then there's this claim of tax treaty benefits, and then I had to look up Canada-US tax treaties from 1984, scrolling through articles and subparagraphs and things. And again, this is all after combing through a bunch of internet forums that explain things, and it's like, well, I believe you, but I don't really trust you because you're not an official source, you're just a guy on the internet. And, I'm like typing in like the Article 12, Paragraph 3 for royalties for intellectual property creation, and I'm messaging my friends, and I'm like, what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is good enough? It's like, I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble for filling out tax forms wrong. And then when I finally just like took the plunge and said, screw it, this is as good as I can do. I will make an attempt. I clicked next on the little, submit your tax form into Google AdSense thing, and it turns out they had a dedicated page where you enter your information, and then it will auto-populate the tax form for you. So I spent about 2.5 hours filling out a U.S. tax form, 2 of which were spent just searching for what a certain term means, and it turns out they just do it for you. So, I don't know what the moral of that story is, other than, click next and figure out what happens then, rather than trying to do everything in advance. But I am still pissed off about the tax form thing, because the tax form itself has a URL for instructions for filling out the form, and the instructions have links to further pages to explain things, so the instructions have instructions. If your instructions need instructions, it is a badly written form. But people complaining about US tax codes are nothing new. But ultimately, it went through. Oh yeah, also, so you have to verify your identity in Google AdSense, but it's like when I submitted it, it populated with a comma in my name because, it's like last name, comma, first name, right? But these tax code forms, you can only have like letters and spaces and maybe numbers. I don't remember if numbers are allowed. Probably not. But commas are definitely not allowed. So I filled out my name as it is, just full plain numbers and spaces. I don't letters and spaces. I don't have numbers on my name because I'm a normal person. And I submitted it, and they're like, this thing doesn't match. And it doesn't match because it didn't have a comma that was populated in my Google AdSense account. And so I had to submit my identity photograph again to be like, hey, this is still me, and it was during a time, like a really stressful time at work. So it was just kind of like, oh come on, man, can I just have like one thing that works properly? But that was me being a drama queen. Ultimately, it was fine. They approved it after a couple of days, and yeah, I can make my money now. So yeah, so I do not like tax forms. Nobody likes tax forms. I feel like I have a unique grudge against it because I have the unique privilege of filling out tax forms that most people that I talk to day have never even heard of. So I'm suffering a uniquely great amount. I'm the most hard set on person really to ever walk the earth. So feel pity for me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Did I just go on an 8-minute long rant about US tax forms? Yes, I did. Yeah, so I also sort of learned in the process of this, the process of learning how to get money from YouTube, that the ads don't aren't YouTube Corporation, they're from Google. So I do things on YouTube and Google pays me through ads. I don't know. Cross businesses and conglomerations are really weird. But in any case, that's pretty much the extent of the making of Professor Purple at this point. More episodes of development will continue. I hope my channel will continue to evolve, but other than that, I'm kind of out of things to say at this point. So I'm gonna cap it there. If you enjoyed this new form of content, comment and let me know. If not, I will probably still keep making it anyway. Sucks to be you. Anyway, have a lovely day, and new videos coming out soon, I guess. Just an additional note. I felt like saying, oh, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but that would just be a flat out lie. I can see how long the video is going to be because I am looking at a timeline as I'm recording this in a voice. Audacity can do that. So yeah, this is just like a very, very personal, a very me thing, but I find I get very excited when a channel, including my own, posts like the longest video that they have ever made on their channel, and this is absolutely going to be that. The longest so far is that Fire and Fiction is Boring video, which, looking back at it now, I don't love. It was probably my weakest video. It was like way too long and overstuffed, but I digress. And this is going to be like more than half an hour long, so that I find that very exciting. That being said, it is in an entirely different format of creation than my regular videos, so does it really count? It's kind of apples and oranges. Maybe I should count these things as like the longest non-podcast type video, or the longest video that isn't really bad that I look back on with a moderate amount of disgust. Who knows? Maybe I'll chop them up into each individual category has like one video each, so they can all be the longest videos. Then I can be really excited.